Welcome to Save As Ability, a podcast to educate and inform you about disability employment issues. My name is David D'Arcangelo, and I'm your disability policy expert.
Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of Save As Ability. It's David D'Arcangelo, great to be with you. And as I mentioned in the previous episode, this is a little bit of a two-part episode in honor of National Disability Employment Awareness Month. We're trying to bring attention to this because to me, you hop on social media and you can see the major influencers out there, whether it be Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, all these types of people. And yeah, it's entertaining and infotainment and all that, but they don't touch this issue. To me, this is like the biggest domestic issue that nobody has touched. Well, I'm touching it here and we're talking about it because this involves tens of millions of Americans with disabilities, right? There's 44 million Americans with disabilities. And then there's like a large percentage of that is the working age. So in episode 1, we talked about are these big government interventions helping or hurting people with disabilities? Well, I think we concluded that, yeah, there's some things that help, put in civil rights and setting fair rules and things like that. Good. Okay, we agree on that. But for the large part, the results have been terrible. And really, I think have hurt people with disabilities by not providing adequate access to opportunities to pursue independence and self-determination. Don't believe me. Go look at that episode. Look up the data. We're putting the data in the description, okay? Don't believe me. This isn't some political rant I'm on here. You know us at Save As Ability. We're playing it down the middle here, okay? So yeah, there's some good things that result of the government setting the rules and ADA and civil rights. Yes, we believe that, everything, okay. However, creating all these bureaucracies and all these regulations and just the ROI, we wouldn't have 70% of all working age Americans with disabilities not employed. Okay. So this episode is all about what is the role of government relative to working age people with disabilities in employment. All right. So to me, the core principle is government should be there to set the rules, protect your civil rights, have clear barriers and things like that, and provide some resources. When I say some resources, I'm saying that purposely because a lot of people in this space that I work with, in all across the spectrum, by the way, liberal, conservative, Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter. There's a lot of different views out there. To me, the approach is let's put free markets to work here. You just had 50 plus years, really, if you want to go, the Rehab Act and back even further to like remnants of the New Deal and things like that. Well, what I'm proposing is a better deal for Americans with disabilities. You had your chance, everybody who's advocating for all those big government interventions, you had your chance. And what we've ended up with is 70% of working age Americans with disabilities not employed. Let's give this a chance. And that is, let's unlock free markets. Let's unlock our system, our private sector to be able to put people with disabilities to work. Okay. So to me, it's about, yeah, we've put the ADA in place. So now everybody has adjusted to those rules after 35 years, by the way. So yeah, what government should do? Yeah, continue to protect rights, remove disincentives. But then there's other things too, like reforming SSI, SSDI. Some of that can be done with regulation. A lot of that, though, needs congressional approval. Okay. So we should do some of that, definitely. But the larger thing to me to unleash prosperity is to enable markets. Let's encourage business-friendly policies that make hiring and accommodating workers with disabilities easy and not only cost neutral, but why can't it benefit the business, which will then employ the person with the disability? You've heard it here. We're almost at 100 episodes. How many times have I said, when the person with the disability gets a long-term employment engagement, yes, it helps the person with the disability, which is the main goal, but then it helps the employer, which is another important goal. And then guess what? It helps society and helps the taxpayers. It just is the right way to do it. So literally when it's done well, it's a win, win, win without spending even any more money or costly regulations and things like that. But to do that, you got to have the political will. You got to have the resolve. Now, I've done that, and I've been torn apart by it. You Google my name, and it's this mean guy. Why? Because I'm reforming things, and I'm breaking down these big, public sector unions, for example. Go to John Stossel. Go to any, the good government people. It's like, in order to get these reforms through, you've got to get them on board, and they've resisted it. Okay. So I ask anybody out there, if you'd like to come on, we'll have you on an episode. We'll have you as a guest on Save Visibility. Tell me why I'm wrong. Okay. So what government should not do is still be in the business of running employment programs. These have been a disaster. They have not worked to the amount of money that we're putting in. Okay. And what you're doing is you're selling people with disabilities short. This is just like affirmative action, where you're lowering the bar instead of just keeping the bar here for everybody. We shouldn't be separating. This should be all in for everybody, regardless of your race, your gender, your disability status. It's America. We believe in freedom for all here at Save Visibility and equality, not this equity stuff that you can't measure, equality. Okay. So these federal and state workforce programs, have produced decades of weak return on investment. We have a Council of Economic Advisors study that we looked through that said these programs frequently fail to track metrics that allow researchers to evaluate program returns. Little evidence of lasting wage gains. That's another one from another, I think that might have even been from another report, from an independent report. So these bureaucratic programs, they're not agile. They haven't adapted at all. They haven't modernized. They're, averse to technological change. We can fix that. All right. Now, the major thing is that we've got to stop subsidizing dependency. The benefit structures still really encourage that. It's this perverse incentives. So what I've proposed is, and I would love the CBO to score this, or some think tank, please, let's talk and score this. Let the people keep the benefits until they build a sufficient work history. Not like ticket to work, none of that. That's proven like to be, anemic at best. Because benefit cliffs are real, all right? So we can't just pull benefits away and let people starve on the streets. Nobody's proposing that. So I don't want anybody to come back and say, oh, look at the Republican. No Republicans are proposing anything like that, okay? If anything, the opposite. Reallocate the money to give them more money so that they can be successful and put them in places to succeed in long-term employment. Let's reward long-term employment, and we can fix that benefit cliff. So, there's just some realities here that, we're going to need congressional action, but a lot can be done through reg reform. More importantly, though, we just need consensus. If everybody gets together and agrees that what we've been doing has not worked well enough, okay? I'm not saying it hasn't worked at all. There are instances and there are certain situations, okay? But you have things like, RSA with and Department of Labor with their old policies that they just need to be changed so we can get Americans working. It's a win-win-win when done well. You know how I feel. So, all right, to wrap up, the bottom line is that government's role should be limited. It should be structural and ensure fairness, all right? But the real way to do this is to put the private sector to work, put industry to work, okay? We know that now civil rights are protected with the ADA and all that to stop discrimination. But the reality is, let's make this a jobs program. Let's put these tens of millions of Americans with disabilities to work. They want to work. We have report after report that indicates they can be some of your best workers, all right, just with a little bit of reasonable accommodation. All right, so this is for National Disability Employment Awareness Month. You know how I feel. Let's let the private sector, let's unleash prosperity by letting free markets work. Less government intervention. It'll benefit people with disabilities. The other ways have had their chance. It's time now to go into this. All right, so let me know how you feel about it. We love people with disabilities here. It's David D'Arcangelo, another episode of Save Visibility, and I hope you have a great day.
For more information about disability employment issues, please visit our website, disabilityemploymentsolutions.com. The Save As Ability podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our YouTube channel at Disability Policy Expert, or wherever you stream your podcasts. Subscribe, stream, rate, and review our shows. Your ratings and reviews help our show reach new audiences. Produced by Pod Pro Entertainment. Save As Ability lives within a network of podcasts located at podproentertainment.com. #TheNewRadio. Again, my name is David Darkangelo, and I'm your disability policy expert. Until next time, thank you. I hope you have a great day.